So just on the last stages of dough development on this hot cross bun dough. So it's a dough that is enriched, has a high amount of spice, has additional fat and sugar. But what makes this dough different than the other white doughs that we've been doing, of course, it's got more fat, more sugar, therefore it has less salt, and it has more yeast, it needs more power, more gassing power. The other thing is I want to take this dough to its full development in the machine, and we're going to test that by making a gluten window, and also we will take a temperature. Once that's done, then we'll add the fruit. So when we're adding fruit to doughs, it always happens at the end of mixing. If we acknowledge that a sultana and currants and even the orange peel, that they have a high concentration of sugar, and even though they're dehydrated, if we break them up into the dough, it will deactivate that yeast. It's just too big of a sugar hit. It becomes unmanageable as far as the moulding. So yeah, always at the end. So the dough has completed its mixing cycle. So when you use the thermometer, just make sure that the thermometer goes all the way into the dough. And then I'm just going to take a piece of dough and I'm going to do a gluten window. So these two bits of data or information, this helps to determine when that dough is fully developed. So that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. And the temperature is 23.2. So I could mix a little bit more. Ideally, our doughs, we're trying to keep them a little bit cooler because it's taking us longer to mold, but we want to ensure that it doesn't go over 25 degrees, okay? Because we want to manage this dough. We want to control fermentation. We don't want fermentation to control us. So this is the fruit. It has been preconditioned. Okay, so it's been pre-soaked. You can see the sultanas are they've absorbed some of that liquid that I pre-soaked with. Orange juice, a little bit of vanilla, some water, and that way our cross buns or fruit buns are going to be moist. You're going to be not taking moisture from the actual bread product once it's baked. It will contribute to the freshness and the shelf life because it's already been hydrated. It's not going to rehydrate in the baked dough and take moisture from the actual baked bread. Now I use, and you will as well, slow speed to mix the fruit in. And I'm also going to use reverse. So this is in first speed. I fully developed the dough. That was 3 minutes hydration. And that's where you add the chilled water. Help this out in a minute. I'm just going to remove, it is a smaller dough, right? So normally with a bigger dough, we wouldn't be experiencing this problem. And what it is that because the fruit is not wet, but has moisture, it's a little bit difficult. So I'm just going to help this process. You can see it's mixing through now. So going back to that point, so with the first part of that mixing on slow is hydration. The next part of that mixing is done in second speed, and that is dough development. And the whole point of that is to develop gluten, and we're going to create a finished dough temperature based on that amount of energy that will be required to do both of those things. And once that dough development is at its peak and we've got a suitable dough temperature, then the fruit is mixed through the dough. Now, with the dough temperature and the data that you're going to collect, you take that data before you add the fruit, right? So the fruit will definitely influence the temperature of the dough. And what I'm doing here is I want to try and get the sultanas and currants and orange peel. I want to get that coated in dough. So essentially we do the same thing with heavy fruit cakes and other sort of baked products that have a heavy addition of fruit. You really want to make sure that the fruit is incorporated, not mushed up, but it is coated in dough or coated in batter, so that when we do the final product, it is secure and it's not going to, fall out. Just a minute. And also, I really want this fruit to be mixed through this dough. I'm going to do a little bit more and I'll finish this on the bench, because I definitely don't want to break up that fruit. What I mean is I don't want to break those sultanas up into this dough. This should nearly finish it off. It's taken, well, on the mixer here, it's probably taken about, I've stopped and started, and you'll need to do that too. I mean, your dough size will be bigger because this is 50% or half, 50% of the dough that the teams will be making. And from this, we'll be getting hot cross buns, and we'll also be getting some, and we will start to practice our skills with rolling. And the goal is to start doing 3-strand and 4-strand flats. So that looks quite nice now. The fruit is still fully incorporated. So you can see it's fully incorporated into the dough, evenly distributed, but I haven't really broken up too much of the fruit. There's a little bit of broken fruit in there, like there. But overall, that is quite a suitable dough. So now this will go through its process now. So I take the dough temperature, the dough temperature's been done. Now I take the time, right? So it goes in a bunker. We take the time. We give this 10 minutes. Then we're going to scale it, 10 minutes. Then we're going to mold it. Then it goes into the proof, where we know already it's about an hour to 10, and then it'll go through its baking phase.